So one of the ripple effects beyond Tampa Bay,
right,
with Tom Brady retiring, it puts the Raiders in a different mindset because, as I understand it, from talking to someone with knowledge of the dynamics of what the Raiders are doing, and I know you people, you know people out there as well, Chris, they were going to try to get Brady, and no guarantee you're going to get him. They were going to try. Now he's off the board. I think Aaron Rodgers is in play for the Raiders. First, he's got to want to leave the Packers or get the hint that the Packers want him to leave. Second, he's got to not go to the Jets and Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know that this, you were talking earlier about Aaron Rodgers and Mike McDaniel. I don't know that Aaron Rodgers and Josh McDaniels would work either.
Right.
When you consider the McDaniels coaching style and the Rodgers personality formula, that may not be a natural fit.
I definitely would want to get my popcorn ready for that one. Not to say that they can't do it, but those are two. I don't want to say stubborn, but just stuck in their ways. Rodgers, is he going to want to go there and learn that system that we've talked about a lot? It's going to be a total whoa, mind blown. I can't believe this is what you call this formation and this play, and it's nothing like I used to call offensive plays in the huddle. So there's going to be that, and let alone it's going to be, again, the New England way, where it's going to be like, hey, listen, no, we run this play this way. We do this right here. We check to this, right? We got 6 Super Bowls and a bunch of AFC Championship games to tell you this is the way you do it. This is the way. We know that. And then, you're going to have Rodgers going to be like, no, I used to just check to the slant route here. That's it. And they're going to be like, no, we got something better than that. And that's where I don't know. I don't know where that goes. And then as we talked about, just like with Brady, the same thing with Rodgers. It's just, the conversation of compensation, how much money, how much longer he's going to play. All those things are dicey. I can understand them flirting and thinking about it, but gosh, I'd be scared too. I would be, because again, if it doesn't work, a lot of the times it's going to be the blame is not going to go to Aaron Rodgers. That's where I would, go, oh, okay, coaches of the Raiders, you sure? Because if it doesn't go great, you're going to be the ones that everyone's going to look at and go, damn, they had Aaron Rodgers and they couldn't even win or go to the playoffs, or he didn't even have a good year. And then you're going to be under the spotlight and your butt's going to be on the hot seat. That's what you got to worry about, at least in my opinion, Mike.
Hey, Chris, I think this is one of the reasons why Aaron Rodgers had the parachute on, goggles down, helmet strapped into place, and didn't jump out of the plane last year. Because if he goes somewhere else and it doesn't work, then the narrative pivots from the Packers have consistently failed him
I hear that.
to maybe he's part of the reason why the Packers never got back to another Super Bowl. Another thing about the Raiders, because I don't know what Rodgers is going to do.
Yeah.
And we talked earlier about his comment on Pat McAfee's show that conversations are happening and they're not involving him, and that's interesting to him. I mean, look, at the end of the day, he's got to want to go to wherever they're going to trade him, even if you have a no-trade clause, or if you don't have one, if you don't have one, as a franchise quarterback, it doesn't matter if you don't have one. Because if you don't want to play for that team is not trading for you.
That's right.
And this is the other thing Rodgers is going to have to do. Before we pivot to this other point I want to make.
Yeah.
Rodgers, I think, is a creature of habit. Rodgers doesn't want to change his whole life around.
I hear that too.
Right? It comes through, and this is where smart guy Rodgers maybe isn't as smart as he needs to be, because in his power play, his ransom note, all these guys that he's comfortable with, that he wants to have on the Green Bay Packers, you're letting people know that you're not someone that wants to pull up your roots and go join a completely new football organization. You want some familiarity in your life. And ideally, you want to have guys around you with whom you're familiar. And failing that, you want to be in familiar places. And familiar faces, even if it's not the guys that are on your team. You don't want to uproot your life and completely, at this age, I'm too old for this crap. I don't want to go to a new team and have everything change. And also, if he goes to a new team, there's going to be a greater expectation that he shows up for everything. Not just the mandatory stuff, but the offseason program. We know he doesn't like doing that. So I think at the end of the day, and this is where it becomes popcorn-ready material for what's going on in Green Bay. If he feels like they're trying to push him out and he wants to stay, oh boy, what's going to happen there?
Yeah, right. I know. There's a lot here that can go on, and I know he made the comment on McAfee's show about, it seems like there's conversations about trades or whatever that are going on, and he finds that interesting. Well, what I want to say is, one, hey, they're gonna let you in on anything here, but two, of course they're having conversations a little. What like the NFL's moving along, they're going. Teams are going to call Green Bay and go, hey, we're trying to figure out our team. We know he's waiting forever, but we got to worry about the 2023 season. So those conversations are, of course, going to happen, like at least the start of them, to at least get a little bit of a feel for, oh, wait, there's some interest and what would we be asking? Like, I would think they'd have to be going on. They can't wait 2 or 3 more weeks to where, man, he's not interested, guys. Damn, those other 4 quarterbacks we were interested that we didn't talk to because we were all in on Rodgers. He's not coming. We're screwed, guys. 2023 season's over. We can't find a quarterback. I mean, well, of course, the whole league's not going to stop just because you said you want to be involved in the trade conversation. I think it's kind of ridiculous, actually. That's of course there's something going on there, Mike. Am I crazy to say that?
Well, you're not crazy to say it, but here's where I think the Packers are getting it wrong, and this is the connective tissue back to the Raiders and Derek Carr, because I want to make a comment and an observation about what's going on with the Raiders,
right.
And I think there's relevance to what's going on with the Packers. I think in both situations where there is some interest in a possible trade, and the teams are talking, but the players aren't involved yet. That was the news earlier this week. We broke it down the day that you were out.
Yeah.
That the Raiders have refused to give Derek Carr permission to talk to any teams about a possible trade. Why are you not doing what the Texans did last year with Deshaun Watson? It worked out perfectly. The player and his agent orchestrated the invitations to the table. You had to basically, it was kind of like a cover charge. Like you had to placate the Texans on the way in.
Yeah.
That you had enough that they would deem acceptable if a trade happens, and then the agent works the interested teams to get the best possible destination for the quarterback. Why not do that? Whether you're the Raiders or the Packers, that's the template now. And look how it worked for the player, and it worked for the team. Doing this and freezing out the player, especially when Carr has a no-trade clause and can put the kibosh on anything whenever he wants. Rodgers has a de facto no-trade clause because nobody wants him around if he doesn't want to be there. They're both misplaying it. And one thing I learned yesterday, I haven't written this yet at PFT, but I thought maybe the Raiders were just planning to pick up the $40.4 million, let it vest, and try to trade Derek Carr afterward. Maybe Carr gives up some of the money to allow a trade to happen, kind of the Baker Mayfield thing last year. I think the Raiders are still going to cut him if they can't work something out before the 15th of February.
Yeah.
All the more reason to let the guy go out and work his deal, which is exactly what the Packers should be doing with Aaron Rodgers. Both teams should be letting their guy go out and work their deal now.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't quite get it. I don't. I'm like, I've only spent a day or two here really thinking about it a little. But, like, with the Derek Carr thing, here's the first thing I would say, and the Raiders. One, there's a reason they're doing this. There's a reason. McDaniels, Dave Ziegler, the GM, they're not idiots. So there's a reason, and I don't know what that is. That's where I've been trying to play. Like, there's got to be a domino effect that they don't like if they let Derek Carr know that maybe, okay, now this team is angling to get Derek Carr, and that might mean they might not get another quarterback they had their eye on. That's where I would go. Again, I don't know, Mike, but I do know those guys out there, and they're not dumb. There is some strategic reason, and I just can't quite figure it out, or I haven't heard anything to know there. But I would think it's something along those lines as far as the ripple effect and how it might affect what they want or something. But I don't get that either. You would think they would let him, have these conversations, to your point there. But they got to have a reason. It's just I can't quite figure it out. Do you buy what I'm saying there? You know what I'm saying with what I'm bringing up?
I know exactly what you're saying, and I think I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, what do you think?
They're dumb. They're not dumb. They're not dumb,
right.
But they're stubborn. and stubborn makes you do dumb things. So I think they're being stubborn in that they want to control this process. And they've yet to come to terms with the fact that they can't control this process because at some point they got to get Derek Carr on board with the process, and he holds the ultimate hammer of, sorry, I'm not agreeing to that trade.
Yeah.
I'm not waiving my no-trade clause. You've got to let the $40.4 million vest as of February 15, and Mark Davis isn't going to let that happen. Mark Davis is not in a position like Rob Walton with $70 billion. And also they need to have the cap space. They need to have the money freed up so they can go get somebody else.
Right.
That $40.4 million is not going to vest. That's my best understanding right now. I thought earlier this week the play was we're just going to let it vest and we're going to trade him with everyone understanding he's due to make $40.4 million, fully guaranteed over the next 2 years. Grand scheme of things, it's not that much money. Somebody out there is going to take it on. Maybe we'll pay a little bit of it to get the draft pick we want. Maybe Carr will give up some of his money. I saw somebody suggest recently that Carr wants to be traded, not cut, to save face. Now, that is stubborn to the point of dumb, because you're better off being cut. Who cares what people think? Oh, he got cut by the Raiders. Yeah, and he was able to go out and get more money on the open market than he would have gotten from a team that had to give up a pick or two to get him, because they're going to give you more if they don't have to give up draft picks to get you. So maybe they're playing a psychological game with Derek Carr, but as I understand it right now, they just want to control the process, and they're being stubborn, Chris.
Yeah.
And that stubborn may blow up in their face.
Well, there could be the aspect of like, so what? We do vests, and we think we could figure out a spot to get him traded and do all that with the current contract and situation, right? Where we think we can get that done. And in fact, we have some teams lined up already that have let us know that that's a possibility. That to me is the other thing. Again, I don't know here. This is one I haven't heard on the Rumorville yet, right? I haven't heard it. But that's just some of the possibilities. You know, I'm with you in the thought that it doesn't seem like a Mark Davis move to let that money vest. But at the same time, I think we got enough teams and quarterback-needy teams that, 2 years, $40 million ain't that big of a freaking deal. We're going to see guys, $40 million like we were talking the other day. It's just not going to be that big of a number here in the next year or two at the quarterback position. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them go that way. It just doesn't seem like that's their usual approach, to your point.
By the way, Davante Adams, who joined the Raiders from the Packers last year, has planted his flag in the ground as it relates to where he thinks Aaron Rodgers is going to go. Responding to the question, which neighborhood is Aaron Rodgers moving to, Adams said, mine. That was just at midnight today. So who knows? Maybe Davante Adams with a little inside information as to what's happening with Aaron Rodgers. But Chris, like you said, Aaron Rodgers and Josh McDaniels, that's as oil and water as it gets, and it would be awesome to see that play out in real time and to hear all the things and all the passive-aggressive stuff that, hey, you know what the first thing McDaniels would say to him? And you know McDaniels better than I do, but I think one of the first things McDaniels would say is, that Tuesday radio thing you do with McAfee, that's done. You can't do that anymore. It's not a good idea for you to be out there talking about things about our team and things about yourself. That's not good for us strategically. You have to not do that.
I would agree with that. I think there's a lot of coaches that would have that conversation with their quarterbacks. But yeah, I would expect that to be one coming from New England, McDaniels, all of that. Yeah, I just don't see that as being something he would love. Certainly would have some talk about, can we not do that anymore? Can we not have the State of the Union address for the Las Vegas Raiders team on the Pat McAfee show? I definitely think that conversation would come up.
And the challenge is to get Aaron Rodgers to come to that conclusion on his own, not tell him to do it. And again, that's all the more reason to not even have the relationship. If you're not going to make it work that way, if it is going to be people butting heads and not seeing eye to eye, it's not worth it. And you're never going to get along any better than you do the moment the relationship begins. And it could be rocky from the start if they try to do it. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.